ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted today to be here with Luigi. Luigi is our incoming president. He will be president of NSBAR's board next year. And he's an interesting man. That's what I have found. Okay, I'm going to read some of the things. He is the owner of RE/MAX American Dream Home in Round Lake. He has, I got to know all the good things that you do as a director and all the things there. Luigi is also an MLS&I director. For those of you who don't know, that is a big deal to be an MLS&I director. A big deal.
It's probably MREV right now.
MREV.
He's an MLS&I director.
Okay, MREV.
He wasn't very effective in
Right, anymore. Sorry. He's also been a past president of NAREP, which is the Hispanic Association for Realtors. And he was, I love this one too, he was the #1 Latino agent in the RE/MAX network last year. So it's impressive stuff. So as well as doing selling, as well as running a company, as well as having, and here's another fascinating one, say this again for me, pronounce this again for
Cafezinho.
me. Cafezinho, his own restaurant, makes him an interesting man. And here's my favorite, well, not maybe my favorite, but one of my most favorite facts is he's trilingual. He speaks English, Spanish, and Heavenly Days he speaks Portuguese too. That's the one that just, because I know nothing about that, speaks Portuguese. So, you're up, Luigi.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. Thank you guys for being here. I was asking if I have a presentation. This is going to be mostly like a conversation of, how to do things and how to take your life and embed your life into real estate in a way that you don't feel like you're working anymore. And I think I've achieved that for different reasons. And I'm going to show you guys how that happened, right? So today, again, I'm very blessed to be in a position that I am right now. I'm also an investor. I own a lot of real estate, buildings and now restaurants and houses and all that. I own an office and I have a team and, I don't feel like I work every day. So going back, so you guys know a little bit about me, I'm an immigrant. I'm from Ecuador. Came here in 1994 to Maryland to study, to go to school. So I went to school, I graduated, and then I met my wife, right? She's like, well, my wife's from Brazil. It's like, I don't want to go anywhere. I was supposed to go back home and help my family with business, but that did not happen. Anyways, long story short, because I used to be a programmer, I used to do that. I landed a contract here in Chicago, and I wasn't doing real estate at all. I was about 17 years ago, but I was always flipping land, here and there on the side. And my wife said, "Why don't you get your real estate license?" Right? I'm like, "Okay, well, I'll do it on the side." So I got my real estate license, and then I started it on 2007, which I guess was not a good year to start, right? But long story short, 2009, I was buying my first franchise, my first RE/MAX office, and the very first year, 2007 to 2008, I was the #1 agent in my RE/MAX where I used to work, which was here in Deerfield. There were 70 agents that ended up being #1. I was like, what's going on? I just got here, and I thought, I was doing normal, right? I will never expect to be #1. I'll never expect to have like all those things, but I was working a lot. I barely saw my family. I barely saw my kids. I had young kids, and I did not see them. My previous job was the same thing. I was working a lot. I always liked to work, but I did not have time for my family at all. And so my kids were little. They started. We love soccer, right? So I started putting my kids on soccer, and I started going to real estate conventions. I think that was the killer for me. Like going to the real estate conventions is what really like project me to a different level. So what I do in conventions, right? You go to classes, you pick 3 classes, but I was like, I need to get a golden nugget from every convention that I go. And these golden nuggets were from one of the classes, but also from people outside, right? And it struck me back in the days I met this lady from Ohio, and she's like, well, I'm a baseball mom, and I make a lot of money. I'm like, what do you mean you make a lot of money in baseball? I said, look, I put my kid in the best baseball school that there is. The most expensive ones where all the rich kids go, the most affluent one, that's what I did. And I go there all the time. And I organize barbecues, and I do this, and I do that, and I sell homes. I'm like, hold on a second, right? So I used to live in Round Lake, right? I'm like, okay, my kid, was playing soccer with little kids at the YMCA. I said, well, let me see if there's a school out there that is maybe I can do that, right? And yeah, okay. Good morning. So all of a sudden, I got my kids. I took him to Lake Zurich, to play soccer, and I started going to their practices, and I started doing the same thing. I said, well, meeting people, and my kids are playing soccer. I'm having fun, and all of a sudden, it's like I'm start selling homes to those parents and to that circle, And they were not homes because I used to do like $400,000 a home. Now I'm selling $700,000 a home. I'm like, okay, hold on. It's working, right? Keep going to school, keep going, keep learning more things. And the next thing, I was in a class that, I'm a Remax. So Remax, we have different levels. Like you are 100%, and you're platinum, and the platinum, it depends how much money you make. And I was at the level, and that classes have to be in this other level. So I went to that class, and the lady was like, you know what? I took a leap of faith. She said, I moved to a neighborhood that I could not afford. But I'm selling houses to those people now. And I see myself that the houses that I was selling were close to me, right? And I'm like, well, now my kids are in this school. Why don't I buy a house in those neighborhoods? It's going to be tight in my budget. That wasn't in my budget, but I did it. So I did it, bought the house, a bigger home. And all of a sudden, after a year or so, my neighbors, of course, you got to be out. You got to be out and talking to people. And I start selling my neighbors' homes. And my neighbors all have bigger homes and nicer homes, So I started it like that, right? But that's not something that you can, I won't suggest, go there and now buy the bigger home and do that, right? I don't think that's something you need to do it like that, but you need to program yourself to do so. Because right now I think I can afford, a huge house. I don't need it anymore. I'm super happy where I am, and you gotta be in a situation where, okay, you go to that level, but you have to put stop and say, okay, where's gonna be, my dream life? And that's what I'm living right now, right? My dream life is what I'm living right now. So how you finance all those things, right? In real estate, you need to actually work the real estate life. You can't just be a realtor that write contracts and sell homes. That's not just being a realtor, in my opinion. You also need to be an investor. So I started investing soon. I didn't have too much money, so I was buying a little cheap house here, fixing it, flipping it, or keeping it, right? Back in the days, I think when my wife wanted to change a car, and her car was a little older, I'm like, okay, when I need a new car. And again, I went to a class where they told me that I can get a free car forever. And how do you get a free car forever? Is I had saved money for me to put it out, to buy the car. Instead of that, I put that money to buy a little house. So that house paid my wife's car forever. Right now, she's got a car. So I'm saying, okay, you know what? I think I can start doing that for my life, right? I can start doing that and keep moving. So what is the textbook secret to do so, right? The secret is and there's a lot, one of the things, I think this is the most important thing, is that I will say that 99% of the realtors that I talk to, they do not believe they can buy and flip, or they have their loans out there to flip. Why they believe that? Because we sell homes and we see how traumatic is the mortgage for clients. And we think it's going to be the same for when you buy commercial, which is not. Commercial loans are the easiest thing you can ever, anybody can get a loan. Anybody. Save a little bit of money, and there's projects out there, there's loans out there, you put 10% down and they give you the money for you to flip. I mean, it's insane. You pay interest only. I wasn't aware of those things. I was exposed to a lot of things. So knowing that you can do those things is very important, right? And how did I do it? I saw somebody who doesn't even sell homes. I broke, and I was doing. I'm like, okay, if that person do, I can do. So I started researching, and then I started seeing that those things are very possible. So what is the textbook flip, in my opinion, right? You get a house that is destroyed, you fix it, right? And then the money that you put in, right? You're gonna refi that house, take the money out, rent it, and making sure, my number, I want to make clean after all the expenses at least $500 per door per month, clean, all with the bank's money. So then I have my money back, I go to the next. So what I did next, right? I bought a boat, little boat, right? So I start skiing, and what I do is I create groups. I start seeing people, okay, you know what, I love boats. Who else that loves boats, right? One of my friends who likes boats, okay. So I create groups. So wakeboard. So I'm the one who organized the wakeboard, right? So, hey guys, when is the wakeboard? 2. So what happens when you start organizing those type of groups is that you are attracting other people with similar likes, right? The things that you like, right? So then suddenly, but that was 2008 when I got my first boat. And suddenly, like my friends, we all wake, and I'm selling homes to them as well, right? So down the line, a few years ago, I got a surfboat. Now I got a surfboat, which is easier than wake. And what do I do with this surfboat? Like I was there yesterday, right? And it was my wife, 2 of her friends. One of them is one of my best referrals friends, right? And the other one is a client that's going to buy a house. But we didn't go as clients, right? We went with our families. You see, that's what I created. Like the whole afternoon. I'm already dark, but I'm getting darker because of that. The whole afternoon, I was with my kids swimming on the lake with my clients and with my referrals partners right there. So I was working, but I was not working. So that's what I'm trying to tell to see how to teach people how to get it, right? How to understand that that situation. Same thing with my kids, right? Well, we're talking about soccer, right? I was the one who organized every barbecue. Okay, well, what we're gonna do? We're gonna travel. Okay, we're gonna travel. We're gonna be in Minnesota. Well, I organized all the things. I think I was the one doing that. People love when other people do stuff for you, right? Now, what happens? Luigi's name is everywhere. Luigi. Oh, have you tried Luigi's meat? Have you Luigi? Where's that house? Luigi's house. I built a pool in my house. As a matter of fact, a couple of days ago, my son, 19 years old, right? He brings, he's out of college, right? He brings all his people, to my pool, right? Boys, girls, and I'm there, and he's cooking, I'm there talking to the kids. Well, I'm talking about real estate with them. I said, look, you know what? You guys should be buying soon, right? So, having fun, but you create that environment for you where you are working and you're not working, really. So, another thing that is super important, right? I'm the incoming president, and just so you know, I'm also in the board on NSBAR. It's so important that you balance your life also giving. You have to give your time. You have to serve. Serving create trust for you. Not only, for me, it's a good feeling. I don't want anything in return for me serving, or for example, teaching this class. Right? I don't want anything. For me, it's a joy to do so. But what happens on the other side is that automatic. When you are in a situation where you're a leader, or you're serving, or you're in a board, or you're in a committee, people start trusting you because there's not everybody is like that. So what happens when I say, like, my friends or some leaders or some people that are not in real estate and see me that I'm okay, that I'm doing those things, will say, well, this guy is trustworthy. He's not just a realtor out there. He worries about his job. He worries about his community. He's here to teach. He wants to share. He wants to improve the real estate community. And that's what happens. You become a trustworthy person. Even though you're not doing that on purpose, being a person who serves is very important. And I not only serve here. For example, I serve also in a not-for-profit organizations that are dear to me. And like, for example, I have it's called Mano a Mano, that we serve a lot of immigrants here in Lake County, a lot of poor people. And people say, well, you go there because you want to make money. No, you don't want to get money. But this is what happened. For example, I'm helping them buy a big building right now. A big commission, right? $100,000. What I'm doing with this commission? Donating it back. Okay? Donating it back. But what happens? The people that are on your board, presidents of banks, presidents of things, people with money, say, well, this kid is not for the money. So suddenly, a referral here, also a referral there. Oh, this only. So things work when you're not purposely going to try to make the money, right? So that's I think the key of merging your life and that. Well, as Deborah was speaking, I have a restaurant. Well, actually, it's not my business; it's my wife's restaurant. My wife's also a realtor, but she does it part time. But her part time makes a lot of money that more full time people that I know. Because she also doesn't work. She also have fun. You know, people that she works with, and she's from Brazil, so we opened a Brazilian restaurant, which is we've been open for 5 months, almost 6 months, and it's been going really great. But the reason we opened this restaurant was she always wanted to have fun, but also we're meeting people there. We're getting a database of people that are there. So purposely, we have this restaurant that her community are going to this place and get to know her and me, right? So it's been only like a few months, but we already have some leads and people that we have closed because of that restaurant. So the restaurants, if they make money, but they're not make money for you to be rich. But real estate does, right? Real estate does make money for you to be rich, and that's what we use in this restaurant. Having fun, a place to go there, eat, have friends there, right? And also getting leads. But we're not there like, hey, wanna buy. We're not. We just be. Another thing that I use, and when you see the perspective from a real estate side as a realtor, when you see me on social media, you might say, well, this guy brags a lot. And I think in a real estate perspective, maybe yes. But what happens is that this has worked for me, right? I post everything that I do online, a lot of the cool things, right? When I'm biking, when I'm snowboarding, when I'm skiing, when I'm, whatever, I put that online. When I'm on vacation, I put that online. But now remember, like I go snowboarding during the winter time, I go with friends that are also my clients. And what happens, I do cool videos and I tag them. And those friends that get tagged, they repost my video. All of a sudden, if you repost my video, I got 2-3 followers in my page. They're friends, right? Now their friends are my semi-friends, right? They start watching my stories. So they start watching my stories, and it's like a soap opera. They start watching, this guy is doing this and that. All of a sudden, I'm showing a house. All of a sudden, I'm showing my flip. All of a sudden, I get a message, hey, you know what, I am a friend of such and such, and I see you're flipping houses, I'm interested in investing. Okay, so I get a lot of leads out of those, a lot. So that's why, like if you see me, and this is free, follow me, you see what I do, it works. Social media works. Tag your friends with cool things. And I do a lot of parties in my house, like a lot of parties. Like for example, Wednesdays is the day that I do beach tennis. Beach tennis is like, think about, I have a court that is sand, like a volleyball court. But in South America, in Italy, Spain, we play beach tennis, which is almost like pickleball, but in a beach court. So what I do, I have a group. And what do we do? Wednesdays, 6 p.m. in summertime, people come, right? My friends, we have a group in WhatsApp. People come, and they are okay to invite their friends. So we go there, play, barbecue, and then swimming pool, right? Couple beers, midnight, we're done. Really cool after. But I get to know more people. And my people, the people that I know now, are people who have more money. Are CEOs, directors, people that they are now my friends. So those are the type of houses that I'm selling, right, personally now, right? But I get there. How do I get there? Like, remember, before I was selling cheap houses. Also the friends that you deal with. I mean, if you have friends like that, those are going to be the friends that you're going to be selling houses to, but they don't have to be your only friends. Like, for example, I bike also during the summertime, right? I road bike and also dirt bike, right? I have groups that I belong and some groups that I created that organize those, right? Saturdays, 5 in the morning, we leave. We end up here in Highland Park by the French, what is the French?
The French guy.
French guy. That's what we do, right? Couple hours, boom, we leave, right? And my wife does the same thing, right? She's got a bike group on Sundays, right? Only women go. So only women, and they come back, and then now there's barbecue in my house with their husbands, right? And with other people, right? So So we always having, parties and always doing these things, always, do that. Friday nights I belong to a volleyball group. I don't go all the time, especially in summertime. I'm gonna go surfing this afternoon. I'm not gonna go to play volley today. But I do play volley during the winter time with these people. And then we go to Libertyville to have a couple drinks, we laugh, all that. So it's all fun. But what industry can allow you to have a lot of fun every day, all the time, and make money? That's what the industry that we are. This is the industry that we have here. So that's basically my recipe, how I got there, right? And again, I don't want you to go there, I buy this car. Like, okay, talking about cars and things like that. I just sold this car, but this is, 2010. I bought a BMW convertible I always wanted, an M6. And the reason I did that is I already loved it, but I already knew that there is a BMW group out there that have these cars. And I became part of that group, right? So, couple times, it was more than maybe 2 or 3 times a year that I went to the meetings and met people. We all have the M6 and we all have like the Facebook group that, that connect. But I saw houses there. My car got paid off because of the houses that I saw, and I had a car. I enjoyed that car for many, many years. Beautiful car that that it paid by itself, and I enjoyed it. So, but all that, I learned. Not I just made it up. I learned by being in going to different places, the NAR convention, REMAX convention, all these conventions. I know each company that you guys belong have their own conventions, and you guys will go because that for me that was life changing. Talking to people from other states, what they do. For me, and there's always in real estate up and downs, and the up and downs we understand that because it's very sentimental. I will say that I'm very emotional to deal with people. And I was in a class one day that this lady, she said she nets $3 million a year. And the funny part is that she said that summer she almost quit for $100,000 deal. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, the seller of $100,000 house was yelling at her, and she felt so bad. She said, I'm gonna quit real estate. And then she was about to quit, she said, realize what I'm making $3 million a year. I'm like, wait. So it's important to have our mental balance as well, right? To understand that we cannot take these transactions, that sometimes we are your friends that sometimes let you down, because these people that I consider in my sphere, they consider my friends or semi-friends or acquaintances, and sometimes they go with other people, right? Sometimes they go with other people. Sometimes they don't want you to know their finances, right? Because maybe they think maybe you can tell everybody else, right? So don't get offended if that happens. I have, and I don't know if this is good or bad, but I have created a like in my sphere, almost because I own a lot of these groups, right, on WhatsApp and all on Facebook, whatever. It's like almost like I have the feeling that they think that if they don't buy with me, they might not be part of this group, which I'm okay with, I created, and but it's not really like that. But at least they have the impressions. I'm good with that. So, or something I was going to tell you guys right now, but I forgot. Let me see. So balance life and my calendar, right? So, I think this is something you guys probably hear all the time, and I think it's so important, to take care of your health in this business, and also how you dress and how you take care of yourself, right? And like I go to, maybe that don't look, but I go to the gym every day, and I also meet clients there. I don't try to bother people, but sometimes, when you talk, hey, how you doing, whatever, what do you do? I'm a real estate agent, and in the gym I haven't sold a lot of homes, during this 15 years that I'm a realtor. Maybe I'll say 2, 3, maybe max 4. But and also take care of your parents, right? Dress nice, right? That sells. People if you see all these reports and researches that NAR does, they have two realtors. They have the same experiences, the same thing. They're gonna choose the one that is better dressed. They're gonna choose the one that has the better hair. They're gonna choose the one that has nice clothes. They're gonna choose the one that has a better car. And with a car, and I tell you, like, there's always, who doesn't have to have nice cars and stuff like that? When I want to start real estate, my wife had a really nice car, and mine was a little car that wasn't expensive, but I really like it. And it happened that my wife was showing a house to somebody, right, like big house, and we closed. And then we went to his house later on, right, after a few weeks that they invited us to eat. And this guy was telling me, you know what? I was working with a guy that had a beat up Honda Civic, and still my wife, and we show up in that Audi. Then I knew you're yourself. I knew I had to go with you because you have to be a successful person. I'm like, oh my God, that was back in the day. I'm like, wow, okay. So visibility trumps ability. So don't go and get a super expensive car, but get a car that is decent, that is clean, that people say, you know what, and it doesn't have to be an expensive car, because there's people that have smart cars, like, hybrids or electric, and they're not that expensive, and you can still pass that, okay, that the appearance that, okay, well, that guy is smart, or, whatever. But I think it's important for you to show out like that, and fortunately, that's what people see you nowadays, right? Maybe you can be the best realtor out there, but, it's just how it works. And it's so much that visibility trumps that ability. And now, especially with social media, it's crazy. I was in a class last year, and the lady that was teaching this class, it was about teams, right? And I stayed in this class, and I'm like, one of the people that was there, she used to work for me. And she just opened her team for 6 months. She was already teaching a class. She doesn't know anything about it. And I go there and talk to her. I said, look, you're teaching this class. I said, well, they asked me to teach. I'm going to teach whatever I said. I know I'm going to say, right? And why she got chosen to teach this class is because how she projects her team on social media. She projects her team in a way that everybody's like, wow, her team must be amazing and all this and that. So it is important for us that we're in sales, how people see us. Don't try to be this shy, I don't want my private life to be out. We are in sales. If you don't want your private life to be out, you shouldn't be in sales, right? You need to live your life, right? Otherwise, it's super hard to you to be hidden, to hide your life, because you're going to sell. The best sales that you're going to do, the best things you're going to be to your sphere, the people that you know, right? And of course, there's going to be different social classes than you, and you're not going to be friends of everybody, but you're going to have your sweet spot, the friends that you want to be friends of. And there's going to be people that are going to be usually acquaintances, people that might not, you might see eye to eye with them, that maybe you refer to other agents, or maybe, because you're going to get a lot of leads, and maybe those leads are not, it's people that you might not want to serve. They might be totally different people that you don't like them, or whatever, you can refer to this, or give it to your team or stuff like that. So that's how you can control also the flow, because they need to start coming. And then now, like, I'm in a situation that all my leads are given to people in my office. Now my personal ones, those I keep, and I'm very blessed to do so today. I know there must be some questions out there for you guys. If you guys have any questions, yes.
I think one of the things I'm finding, because I kind of got into social media very early, like in the mid, 2005 and 6 and all of that. And one of the things I'm finding now is that a lot of friends, family, and clients are closing down their social media accounts. They don't want, like you see a lot of agents where they are taking a picture every time of the closing with the people and the address. They want their private life private. And I'm finding that I understand exactly what you're saying, because if I was teaching a social media class, I would say the same thing. But I'm finding that I'm pulling back from a lot of the things that I used to post about myself or my family or friends, pulling it back because as they don't want it there, I'm thinking again about what I'm putting out there. So I'm really limiting, it's becoming more narrow of what I'm comfortable putting out there about myself and what I feel, kind of trying to catch that back. How do you find that balance? Because every client is...
Gotcha. It's very, very easy. Now with social media, with privacy, you can do, for example, let's talk about Instagram. I do a lot of Instagram. So Instagram has also only, friends.
Right.
Only friends, So I'm not going to show my tattoo to public, but my friends are okay to see. I don't want to see my...
So you do the small groups on Instagram that we have.
So, I don't want everybody to see my wife in a bikini, but, my family, it's okay. They've seen it. I don't want to see my kids, but the rest is fine. So do something that is neutral, right? That is not going to cause, and also with politics, with religion, you don't want to be, seen to or be tagged. Sometimes I got invited, okay, let's talk, I want to be in this radio, you want to be in this program. And then you got to see that maybe that radio program, or maybe that place that they invited you might be seeing you or tag you in maybe in a religion or maybe in a group that you might not want to be seen, because in real estate you got to be neutral. You got to be neutral, right? I have clients that are super left and super right, and they know I'm a neutral guy. Inside of me, I might have my own thoughts, but that's for me, only for me, right? Because I'm in sales. I'm gonna respect everybody. I'm gonna respect every religion, and that's how I do it. So, only friends. And so in Instagram, just put there the things that you want to people, because I think it's important that I see my family, my brothers, the kids on social media. I follow them. I want to see how they grow, and they want to see me too, right? They want to see me too, right? So I'm not going to stop living because of the profession, but I'm just going to share that I'm a human being and I'm successful and I'm enjoying my life. You want to be my friend, you can be my friend, but you got to buy a home with me. So any other questions?
I agree with some of the things that you said. Being on a board, being like a trustee, people respect you, they trust you. The trustworthiness is very important. And also joining volunteer groups. I joined a boating group, and one guy, I didn't know this, but I met him at the Menard store, and I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Well, I'm buying some stuff. I'm selling my 2-flat." And I said, "Oh, well, here's my card. I'm a realtor." And he said, "Oh," so he hired me, because he knew me, he trusted me,
Right.
and so we sold it for $10,000 more than what he was thinking about.
Oh,
Okay. So and we did a great job on the whole thing. So yeah, things like that happen. But I agree with this lady over here. Sometimes people think that Facebook is too much, and or even other things. I'm getting calls from Beijing, China, every couple days, or people don't even speak English.
Right.
So they've got my phone number. So it's but yeah, you were in sales. I was in sales with AT&T, selling computers and things. And yeah, you have to be forward. You have to present yourself. You have to be neutral. But yeah, you have to be somewhat aggressive to, because I have a question for you. Do you think realtors are trusted in the population, compared to other industries? And
So we are seeing that we make easy money, right?
yeah.
And I think when we had markets like the last 2 years, I think that's true. There's a lot of people that don't know what they're doing, and it's like a blind person helping a blind person cross the road, right?
Do you think commissions are too high?
Well, I don't think commissions are too high if you do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it could be easy. It could be. We all had commissions that were, wow, I didn't do anything, and I got a $20,000 deal.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're like, oh my God, I feel like I work in McDonald's with this, I'm doing like $4 an hour with this other deal, right? But I think the most important part is not, I think in my opinion, I would like to get paid more because I think what I put, the time and my knowledge, everything that I have to study to help a client, I even think I deserve more. I personally do. You know, I'm very well educated in real estate. I go to like a lot of classes. I know how houses work. I flip, so I build. So it's like if you go and buy a house with me, it's like same thing. You're going to buy a used car with a mechanic. That's what I pass to my people. You know, the minute I go inside of a house, because of the knowledge that I have, I tell them how everything works. I tell them like, okay, you know, this furnace is like this high efficiency, do this and that. I know everything. So that is important because everything that you do, if you end up not selling and not giving value to your people, you're not going to get this circle, these referrals. So you need to be prepared. You cannot have, like for me, I think part of my success is because I am very well prepared. I prepare for everything. Every time I see a house that I don't know the neighborhood, I know everything about it. I know everything about that house, all the taxes, you know, and I go and calculate the taxes for people that look, you know, there's a senior fees, this is how you do. You know, by the way, I call the village is doing this, doing that. You know, I'm not from that village, but I know more than realtors that work in that same village. I live there because I get prepared. So it's important that you take the job seriously also, right? You have fun, but selling a house for me is a big deal, right? You know, I'm with my friends showing them my home and you know, having fun, but at the same time, I'm doing a job that in my eyes is very serious because you don't want people to get into a 30-year mistake, right? Yeah. I think you have control of that. And you know, I have one of the best clients that I had. It was during 2009. I got referred to this person who came to me, and I used to work in Deerfield as my office, and said, look, you know, help me find a house in Naperville. And he said, by the way, I already have the house picked up. You just have to write a contract, you know. And it was 2000, maybe 8, 9. I mean, remember, nobody was selling anything. It was a $400,000 house. They paid 3% commission. The only thing that I needed to do was sign the contract, and I would make, you know, $12,000. When I went to see the house myself, because I already seen it at an open house, but I went to see it myself, and I saw there was a big, you know, big tower in the back, and the cables, you know, like the electrical cables were so close. And I said, his name was Raj. I said, Raj, I don't think you should buy that house. Oh, that's my dream home, and my wife really wants it. I'm like, look, I don't feel comfortable. I think, you know, I don't know a lot also, but I don't feel comfortable, and I will not buy that for my family, so you're going to have to find a different realtor to do so. So I don't feel comfortable. And I left. 6 months later, you know, I thought I lost the guy. He called me. He said, look, you know, I've been thinking and calling realtors, and everybody wanted to write the offer, and nobody told me and asked about it, and nobody, you know, you were the only one. So long story short, that was 2008, 2009. So I sold my big house. He got in Plainfield, like a huge house. But later on, his son got a big house in a big apartment in the West Loop. He sold it, bought a nice house here in Glenview. It was $1.2 million. And a year and a half, he sold that house. I sold his house and bought a $3 million house here in Glenview. And I was his realtor. So, the guy, Raj, right now is my partner. We own a building at the lake, 4-unit. And I have an open checkbook with him. You know, we've done a lot of things together. But, you know, that's how I built that relationship. So
I think it's difficult because, like, I went to community college, I paid $50, I became a realtor, and some of the people in the class were 20 years old, you know. They live at home with their parents, they never bought a house, and now they're realtors for $50.
Right.
You know, and
I agree with you. I think it's too easy to be a realtor, and that's why the ones that are educated are the ones who make the most money.
Yeah.
You know, so the churn rate is 87%. You know, it's crazy. Yes.
Don't you also find that it's your example showed, because I know I've lost clients that way, is, you know, where it seems like often the best long-term relationships are the ones that start off where you're the only person that points out the truth, that tells them the truth, that reminds them every buyer becomes a seller. All of those things that they may not want to hear because there's some emotional attachment versus a practical. And I found that that's something that, for me, I've gotten back in many ways in reviews, where like the review might be, I didn't want to hear it, but she was honest with me, and in the long term, that was what was important.
Right. I do it not only for me, not just because the right thing to do is because I believe that karma is like a bank account, right? A few years ago, I used to own the Remax in Wheeling, Remax United, and there was a guy who called me. He said he wants me to see his house. I went to see his house, Barrington Hills, huge. I think it was maybe $5 million homes, had $1 million horse, and he's like, pick me up at the airport, and Wheeling Airport. He had his plane and pick him up, go eat, and it was a nice relationship. But after 8 months, he wanted me to sell the house, so I went there for the appointment, right? Again, we saw the house again, and now, valued the house, say, okay, let's sign a listing agreement. I thought it was going to be a big house for me, almost $5 million home. And he said, there's two things. He said, I don't want Indian people to come to my house or black people either. I'm like, look, I'm darker than an Indian person. Why do you pick me? I'm Latino also. I mean, why?
Yeah.
He said, well, I don't want those people in my house. And I had to walk away. I walk away, and somebody else sold that house, But I think the amount of karma or the good feeling that I have telling you this story is tremendous. It is more than any money can buy. So, people say, oh, Luigi, you're so lucky, all these cool things happen. It's because, my karma bank account is that's what I'm worried, as I'm trying to, I'm not perfect, I have a lot of effects, a lot of things that, but at least, those things that, that karma also attracts crazy good people to your life, for example, here, Joe, I didn't know Joe before I became part of this board. And he doesn't know, I admire him a lot. And there's people like Joe, other people that I think they're so bright, they're so good, that's just because what I've done, where I put myself to meet people like that and to be in a position that I am right now. So, but any other questions?
Thank you, by the way.
Hi. So how are you doing it? I'm so in this position selling on the North Shore. Like when you're saying you're running to Barrington Hills and down here and here, where do you spend your money? Is somebody doing your social media? You have an assistant? You're not doing any of that paperwork stuff? It's really hard to be almost an individual agent right now. I do know it's going towards teams, and the teams are just getting bigger. It's not what I aspire to do, but...
So if I can go back in life, right, I will not buy the offices that I own. They take a lot of my time, and I don't make a lot of money, but it also helps me help agents, and I love that, okay? But what I did right is I did hire an assistant at the beginning.
License?
No, it wasn't licensed. First few transactions that I had, I put some money aside for me to have at least 6 months set aside for me to have an assistant. And I don't see myself, I don't see how people can live without an assistant, because you know what it is to be done to sell a house, and that's a high level job. And we cannot be like setting up showings and putting lock boxes and printing material and talking and do the transaction coordination. You cannot be doing that. You need to be out talking to people, having fun, go to these parties, go to your kids' events, to your grandkids, to whoever you go. That's what you need to. We need to be face to face. While this lady is posting your social media, whoever is doing your stuff for you. It's very important. Like mine, it's like, well, I don't know what my assistant can, what do I need assistant? Some people tell me. I mean, what do you do? My assistant pay my bills. Well, I get a ticket right here. Picture ticket, pay the ticket. Do this, I don't do, I don't do anything. Get my, book my tickets. Go, I'm on a flight, find me something. You know, oh, I need to buy these things for my flip. Hey, I'm gonna buy this. Find me where I sell what is cheaper. Do that research. So it saves you the time because you don't want to be doing the tedious stuff. But you do need to make sure that once you hire your assistant, you don't just sit down in your house and relax. Because that's what people say. Well, now my assistant's doing stuff. What do you do? Oh, I'm at home watching Netflix and my assistant's doing the work. No, but you're not. You hire your assistant because you're buying your time, right? Buying the time that you need to be doing what you like and making money also, right? So that's important. But you had a question too, right?
It was going to be similar. Like, did you ever experience burnout and being overwhelmed? Because it sounds like you've done a lot and involved in a lot.
Yeah, all the time, right? All the time. I like to work under pressure. So you know, if you in order for you to be successful, you need to know how to work under pressure. And you know, I focus on the things that I like the most, like my family, my kids, and I always see that, and I see that, you know, I have a roof, and I'm healthy, and I'm eating, and nothing's gonna destroy me or these situations that sometimes, you know, even as a guy, right? So I get into situations where that I'm like, inside I want to cry. I'm like, I can't believe these people are treating me like that, or not. You know, we feel like that all the time, and you know, women are more sensitive than us. I can't even comprehend how you guys sometimes handle bad people and sometimes people that don't respect women either, you know. So, and other realtors sometimes, a lot of other realtors out there, you know. But yeah, I feel burned down many times, you know, especially with buyers, you know, like you know. But I had a class last week that I taught, and the class was how to win how to be in a multiple offer situation and win, right? And I saw a trend, and I'm gonna share with you guys, is that right now most of our realtors, especially the ones that are good, we want to do good for the client, and sometimes we take those clients out in a market like this where there's multiple offers, and you take them to see a house, to put an offer and to lose, for them to learn themselves that they have to put more money, that they have to, you know, they have to do that, and sometimes you even lose that client because you were so good that you wanted to try to lower the price and try to do this, that you're trying to show that you're the best realtor, but you're not doing the right thing. You need to respect your time, number one. You need to educate your client. You need to educate your client. Look at the stats. You know, houses are selling for 106% of the listing price. The next where you are, there's no homes that this how much they're selling for. In order for you to buy a house today, you don't need to be pre-approved. You need to be approved. You need to have a conditional approval by your lender, and that's what I'm gonna take to showings. That's what I'm gonna present on offer. I'm gonna present more money, and I'm gonna put the way I'm gonna present my offers. I'm gonna put the proof of funds on my down payment. I'm gonna send with the offer, with the conditional approval. I'm gonna have my lender call the listing agent. That's what I'm gonna do. That's how I win offers, and I educate my people. Well, I wanna offer $100,000 less. Well, I'm sorry, but you wanna find a good buy? Well, good buy, because you're not gonna find it. That's not real estate. That's imaginary estate. You know, I don't know where you find those things, and those people are not for you. Respect your time, because at the end you're gonna lose your time, and you're gonna be frustrated, and you might as well just educate it from day one and say, look, this is how it is. These are the facts. This is how it works. Let's do that. We need to be aggressive. You know, if you find a house, send to me right away. Let me check. I'll check with listing agents' other offers. You know, it's gonna be frustrating. The best offer is gonna win. But I'm gonna present the best offer. And also, when you were talking about trust, I won the other day a house here in Grace Lake, a big house, and my offer was not the best. But you know what? My offer was chosen because the realtor knew me. Mm-hmm. And he said, look, I know you're gonna close this deal because you don't work with BS. You know, and I told my client, pick your offer. And I was so happy to hear that.
But also, as you just said, you did all the pre-work ahead of time. You have a conditional approval. So even if it wasn't the best money, they know you're going to close because you've done all that work ahead of time.
Right.
Because that is your formula of winning an offer.
And it should be, right?
It should be. That's right.
It's common sense for me, right? If you're competing, I need to be the most competitive person. I mean, in my office is to be the most competitive. You know, I have people in my office that do leases, right? And he used to do very little at the beginning. He said, man, you know, leases are always competitive. You know, he does downtown where they pay you a full month commission, right? So I said, look, you know, when I'm the listing agent for a lease, I get 20, 30 transactions, applications. I can now see all these applications, and those that are nasty, what not written, like bad, unorganized. I don't even. My client doesn't even see it. Yeah, I'm like, here's the offer. Like, hey, what? You know what? I'm so unorganized. I'm not. Not going to. So what happens? Get organized. Offer has to be neat. Put a cover sheet. Okay, credit score. This. Do a summary of what your client have. Put the proof of funds. Put the pay stubs. Do everything so people are lazy sometimes. Make it easy for the other realtor to say, look, I got a perfect offer for you here. Make it that. Sometimes they send you an napkin almost like. So that gentleman that works in my office right now, he's closing a lot of those leases now because he's doing that. He's like, people love him. It's like, look, every time I see, they see my leases, they like it because, they're organized, everything is well done, and, his agent can present to the owner in a so easy manner. Everything's done for him, background check, all those, everything's done. Same thing with a purchase offer,
Yeah, I've been in real estate as a licensed broker agent for 20 years, and I find that in this industry, there's just a lot of naivete on the sense of buyers and sellers. They're just, like you just mentioned, they're not informed. I have a book. I give them a book, how to buy, how to sell. Because this is complicated. And you have to, like you're just saying, for the buyer, get all your ducks in a row. Give them a picture of yourself that you can swing this thing. So, I don't see that in like realtor advertising. I think realtor organizations are spending way too much money trying to bribe politicians to get laws changed than to educate the public to how to buy or sell your house. So, as president going in now, I think those are some of the issues that I think realtors would like to see.
I think it's very important that that's a very good point. But I told you something that I've learned by volunteering, right? The RPAC, I used to think the same way that you think. The same way. I did not want to give money, and especially since I'm Latino, and some of the people that were giving money to were people that did not want somebody like me living in this country, right? You had to. So I was not giving any money to RPAC before.
Yeah.
Now I'm a major donor because once you start getting, and that's sometimes when I do when I'm president, I'm gonna teach what RPAC does.
Yeah.
So RPAC doesn't just push politics. Like, for example, right? Like, I'm an investor, right? I own a lot of homes. For me, like, we fight here in this state for rent control, right? Rent control, which they have in New York and California, but the government tells you how much rent you can charge.
Yeah.
Well, what would that do to real estate, to your clients, right? Exactly. So RPAC fights that every year. Yeah. That's vital, right?
I've been on and off a major donor for RPAC because I've come across, like, prior to the last couple of years, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20-ish, I was the first time that I really didn't give to RPAC, and I've been a major donor at some level, either sterling or golden, over the years. And one of the things I will say is that most of the money does come back to the local chapters. And Joe, you said
70% goes back locally.
And Joe also sits on our government affairs, our GPIC work group. And I've served on that at my previous local boards my entire time in real estate. And that basically funds that committee, that 70% of those dollars, to go around to other municipalities to fight off stupid, like when rental inspections, housing inspections, things that are going to not really benefit the public, or they will actually make it not worse for us as realtors, but worse for our clients. And sometimes we are our clients as you know, he's an investor in real estate, and so those affect him personally in a lot of, as you say, a lot of realtors. But each of our clients, whether it's an individual homeowner or and so I think we tend to look at RPAC, and that's where I kind of got off keel with it for a couple of years, is I was looking at what was happening at the upper, you know, at the national level, and 77% comes back locally. A lot of it goes to the state, and probably almost the least amount goes to national.
Yeah, there's a small amount in what
Right.
most realtors focus on is they hear it political action committee and they go, oh, it's going to whoever
Right.
the power is right now. And that's not the case.
And that's not the case, and what that does is it helps us in Northbrook, it helps us in Round Lake, it helps us in Grays Lake, it helps us because we need to support, and sometimes, often, it's supporting realtors. There are so many of our members that are trustees in their local municipalities or, you know, whatever they are, and to help get that point across. So when I look at RPAC, I would also say to you that as someone who's also been involved in the Realtor Association, I'm going on 2000, so I'm going on my 23rd, 24th year, is I've seen the change, to address another point that you brought up, the new campaigns that they're doing are very different. And they rolled out one of the campaigns when we were down in Capitol Conference. At IR's level, there are new campaigns at the national level, and those are campaigns to inform, not just say use a realtor, but to offer education to both the seller and the buyer. And those are very new, and they're not marketed, you know, when these campaigns, just like when we as individual, when we're doing an online campaign like AdWorks, whether we're doing it to our sphere or to a zip code, or we're doing a targeted mailing marketing piece, we're only seeing them if it's presented to us and you're seeing it from NAR or IR, because they are marketing not to realtors, they are marketing to consumers. And so we may see it come across, but more than likely we're not going to see it because they are not paying to advertise consumer-based advertising, you know, our end user client or potential client to us.
But
You know.
in other words, we need to make a better job to people understand RPAC, because like one of the communities that I've served, my team serves, which is around Lake Beach, because of RPAC money, we're able to reverse a test that they were doing for tenants there and for people to sell houses they could not afford, and it was really a burden on that community. When you see those things happen, when you start seeing all the wins, which is what happens, like when we start only focusing on the political, that's when you're selling a house that is in a great neighborhood, it has everything, but it has mold in the attic. Now, if you concentrate on mold in the attic, you're not going to sell that house to nobody, because that's the only thing you're presenting. And unfortunately, that's the only thing that shows, you know, it's like the political part of it, you know, with the RPAC, unfortunately. And that's something that we definitely need to address and change. And it is in my plan as in next year to make it a little bit. Show up to my installation, you will see the start of it. I'd love to see you guys there. It's September 6th in Ravinia. Okay?
This is great.
Well, thank you so much, you guys, for, I know Shore Deborah told me to end it. If you guys have more questions, well, feel free to, if you guys want to follow me, Luigui Corral on Instagram, it's easy, and I'll be very happy to share anything that you guys need with you guys. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.